Twitch, YouTube, and yeah, we'll get started shortly, guys. What's cracking, guys? Alan Naffaretti here from Blendlogic. I'm just testing out my settings quick, but we're about to get into the VIP section of the baseline. So I want you guys who are not familiar with this, I do a bi-weekly book review, and we're going over the book Cal Newport's Deep Work, published in 2016, Rules for Focused Success in a Distracted World. And he's based out of, he's a professor out in Georgetown, which is my brother's alma mater. So that was really cool when I was reading about that. I just want to check something real quick, make sure that all the stream's going, and we'll get right into the presentation. How's everyone's Friday going? Everything looking good, boys. Change the setting, and we'll get started. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Alan Naffaretti. I am the founder and two companies, Fest Fitness and Nutrition and Blendlogic Designs, a marketing agency here in Atlanta, Georgia. And I've been basically helping small business owners such as basketball clients, life coaches, you name it. I've consulted with them, or I directly do their digital marketing. So for those of you on Instagram joining, I'll post the link. What's going on, Adri? How's your day going? I do a full presentation on blendlogic.com/livestream, and right now I'm on Instagram. Waving. What's going on, Junk Hair Studio? What's going on, Audrey? Friday, happy Friday. So I was actually supposed to present this last week, but I had some issues. I was traveling, and I'm going to be traveling on Monday. I'm going to be in San Diego. I'm going to be in LA. I'm going to be in Seattle. So if you guys are out in that part of US, just hit me up. We'll get started soon. Just waiting on some of my clients to join, and I'm waiting on IG. What's going on, web inspiration today? What's popping, man? This is Alan Naffaretti, and we're going over the book Cal Newport. So I recommend for you guys, for my clients, or for those of you who've never participated in a book club type event, definitely just check out getting a piece of paper out, taking some notes. I'm going to be covering a presentation I'm doing, and if you go on the website, you can see the full presentation. I'm going to be drawing on the screen, so you could view the presentation multiple ways. Hope you guys enjoy. So with every presentation I do, you know, it's based on, I like to have the physics mind frame, engineering mind frame. I'm a graduate of Georgia Tech. I studied biomedical engineering for 5 years. In my undergrad, I traveled to China as part of that experience. And something I take away from Georgia Tech is having this experimental mind frame. You want to really, you know, test what people say is possible, or what things are, and really see what the results are. So I spent many years just, you know, doing labs at Emory and at Georgia Tech, and you know, it was just a period of just constant experimentation, constant results, and getting feedback. And something that Cal Newport talks about in this book, and what his thesis or hypothesis is for this presentation, is that a lot of the world, you know, it goes upon Gary Keller's book, The One Thing, where people are distracted by social media, or distracted with just, you know, really their phones and their environments, and they're not really taking the time to niche out, focus what their passion and purpose is in life. And so what this book talks about is That's some info on Cal Newport. But what it talks about is he frames it that there's first the reasons why you want to have deep work. So the beginning of this presentation, I'll get into it, is that deep work is valuable because there's certain people that he expresses in his book, such as the founder of Ruby on Rails, Adam Gant, who share this idea of focused work each day, no distractions, and that's how they're able to produce the things that people know them for. Ruby on Rails. Adam Gant has a massive newsletter where he shares productivity tips. So just to give you some info on the author, he's author of 5 books. He has his own study hack blog. If you look it up, calnewport.com, he'll mention things, what you guys could be looking up to follow up on this presentation. And he's featured on New York Times, Wall Street Journal, Washington Post. And so, you know, it was a good read. I highly recommend you guys get it on Amazon.com or read it on Kindle, or even the Audible is pretty good. I did that as well. So yeah, I would say that I mean, I used to think I had it as well. A lot of the world, they think, why can't I focus? Why do I need medicine? I have ADHD. And really what he breaks down is the brain and how the neurology focuses and functions is that you guys need to realize is because you allow yourselves to have this situation or to allow yourself to get distracted, your brain thinks it's okay. Your brain will continually, you know, focus on this unfocused mode, we'll say. And what's going on? So for those of you watching on YouTube or those of you watching on the live stream, I have my Instagram. So if I go off camera, I'm talking to the Instagram folks. You can check out the live stream you can check out my Instagram at Blendlogic, and you can also follow my personal one at Alan Naffa. But the ability to focus without getting distracted, and the reason for doing this is because what he says the world needs today is results, producing creative things, productive things, products which aren't, you know, that anyone could do it. The good thing I like from the end of his book, he has a question that he asks himself. He says, can a college grad do my tasks? And he uses that to prioritize his day on what he needs to focus on and what he needs to present. And so he gave examples like attending a meeting, doing a draft on a thesis, and you know, because he's author of multiple he's the author of multiple books. That was weird. And so yeah, the book is broken into 2 parts. It goes the problems, and then it goes into really, he gives 4 rules on what he believes are the solutions to getting over the epidemic we have, so to speak, of ADHD. So how to thrive in this new economy. So for those of you on IG, you probably can't see the presentation I'm doing. It's also mirrored. I definitely recommend you check out the link I posted. I will pin the comment so you guys see it. blendlogic.com/livestream. You can also check out the chat box we have on YouTube if you want to communicate that way as well. But the presentation is going to be primarily focused on the YouTube, Facebook cameras. So sorry to shaft you guys on IG, but let's get into it. So really what he's saying in this new economy, it's 2 things. You want to focus on how to master hard things and how to produce at an elite level a lot, essentially. Basically, depth over width. And the quote I put here from Cal Newport himself is that, you know, so I was talking to one of my consultant friends. He was talking about RPA. They call it robotic process automation. So if you guys aren't familiar with machine learning, or you guys aren't familiar with AI or all this cloud services, basically they're trying to find out ways. I mean, you probably hear this in the news. they're always talking about ways how they could replace, common things with the end, like, humanistic goal that as we free these people from these mundane tasks, that they will start this creative process where they'll have more time to pursue what they want. But as we transition to that phase, there's going to be a lot of people who, I mean, if whether you realize it or not, you need to develop a skill set that can't be replaced. And something I talk about with web design and making sales pages, all that stuff I talk about is websites, sales pages, lead funnels. One, the website is replacing receptionists for your business. So you can think of it as like, you might not need to hire receptionists. And then sales pages is really, they're replacing salespeople all the time. If I can make a video, so this gets into what I do in Blendlogic designs, but essentially I make a video which primes and informs people of the product that I'm selling. And then also, you can check out a sales page of one of my clients, jordanlawley.com/TGS. That's TGS. And you can also hit him up on his Instagram, JLawBball, one of my clients. I make sales pages for him all the time. And essentially what it is instead of, he actually doesn't really even have a huge sales team. It's kind of just him and a few people who we do support. But he's crushing sales online. And basically what happens is people are funneling from his Instagram and they get to this page, which basically, as I consult with him and with most of the clients I consult with, a lack of purchase is essentially because they got to trust you. So, or it's a lack of clarity. So if they don't know exactly what they're getting when they purchase it, then you get hesitation. And when there's hesitation, you just think about the times in your life when you have thought of doing something, and how many times in your head your brain will come up with things, or really it's the amygdala, which is your fear center. It comes up with ways to not do the things that you need to do, right? So you guys got to be able to produce at an elite level. Let me get rid of that. Oh, getting some white background flickering on my screen. That's a problem. Sorry, you guys had to see that. But what's going on basically, if you guys are on the YouTube, you can see Master Hard Things. In the 2012 election, Nate Silver, what the story is in the book is that Nate Silver was able to produce a website that got more traffic than like CNN, all the news sites like Fox News and whatnot, because he had created a SQL database and created an election prediction blog, and everyone was interested. So at that time in 2012, when everyone was looking for who's going to win and how much, like the possibilities of who's going to win, he was able to generate like thousands and thousands of people on his website. So that's one example. David Hansen, he's the creator of Ruby on Rails. And if you guys aren't familiar, have a technical background, essentially what that is it's a coding language, and it's what Twitter and Hulu's built off of. Really cool stuff you could do there. And the quote I had there, I thought was really powerful, is, what people do or engage in is, people like seeing experts, execute. If you think about the NBA, you think about orchestras, you think about, anything where people are gathering in masses to see something happen, is because of the effort and time to produce something extraordinary. And the quote said that, when you go to a symphony, or a concert, having a succession of mediocre concerts or whatnot, or performances, is not going to have people leaving because of the amount of quantity, right? If I just go to a bunch of unheard of bands and just have a bunch of mediocre bands, it's not going to make a great performance. But people show up for like an expert level presentation performance, and so that's what people are attracted to, and they like seeing that. Going on IG, what's happening, guys? Creative design. So you guys could go on the pinned post, check out my live stream. on the website. It has the whole presentation up and also a chat feature if you guys want to check that out. That screen flickering was throwing me off. I thought I had, so basically what happens if I have a lot of white on my screen, it flickers the screen for some reason. So I'm gonna have a technician look at that. So, the way I like to think about creating products or creating your website, creating your sales funnel is you have to dedicate time, craft out time to really focus on what your purpose is in life. And one, it's after you discover what that is, and then committing 100% to what you're like working on your craft. So the way I like to think about it, and the reason I put this quote here is I like to think about it like everyone has these raw materials in life. You have, your age, your look, your skills, and stuff like that, and you could build upon your talents. You could build upon, your build upon what you produce and show into the world. And it's like a haystack. And basically, with focus, it's like a magnifying. If you guys have ever had like a magnifying glass and you put it on the sun, and it like focuses on whatever burnable product, right? Then you could basically start a spark, start a fire, generate heat, and once that happens, you guys are like catching fire. You guys are focused in life. You guys are excited in life. You're waking up every day excited to attack the day. And thinking in my life, there's times in my life like before I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do. You would wake up and you wouldn't really know. You wouldn't really be excited to get out of bed. I wouldn't really have the focus that I've developed over time to wake up and be like, okay, what task do I have to do, and what agendas need to be due. And I was talking to one of my friends who was actually saying he's like really motivated right now in work and life because he was in talks. He'd switched careers a lot of times, and now he's really crushing it. And it's these situations in life, guys, that I want you guys to focus on. Is it's learning from performance psychology. So there's a study in science of why experts perform, how they perform, and how you guys, I mean, it depends on where you see yourself, but it's experts compared to the rest of the world. And we keep thinking that the difference is that people have the innate skill, but there's a lot of studies that have been published, and some of them are shared in this book, and I've shared on my Instagram before, in that a lot of talent or a lot of performance is actually working and building on natural talent. And even things like drive and motivation, inspiration can be learned and can be taught. And basically, as you develop the habit of being motivated, or you develop the habit of being inspired, or you develop the habit of just doing work, you stop, like, some clients I work with, they're just not some of them are not motivated to like produce content daily. But if you understand in performance psychology, and if you study the human brain, one of my clients, Anthony Haskins, out in LA, works with the founder or lead scientist in psychoneuroplasticity, and Dr. Frank Lawless. And basically they talk about how always when you're always starting something, it's really hard to it's like trying to move a parked car, right? When you're pushing and pushing, the brakes are on, hasn't moved in a while, it's difficult. And a lot of people don't want to start their vehicle, start their movement, start pushing. But as you develop momentum, it takes less energy. So sometimes you'll lose motivation, but since you built the habit, you don't actually need the motivation anymore. People hitting me in IG. What's going on, Ahmed? You can check out the live stream on my website. It has a better presentation. Put it up on YouTube. You hit up the YouTube chat as well. You can see the slide deck that I'm presenting. Man, I need to fix this white background. Let me see if I can do that real quick, guys. But while I'm working on that, You guys leave some comments, leave some questions you have so far in the book. What I want to talk about while I'm fixing the deck. Sorry, let me see if I can get rid of this palette real quick. Don't think I could do it, guys. So one thing, you'll just have to excuse the flickering in the background going on. So something I learned from the last TED Talk I went to, there's a guy writing the book, Adam, I think he's based out in Boston, and he's releasing a new book in June called Engineering Creativity. And so he also talks about not just, sometimes people think it's nature versus nurture, but also the creative aspect in that, the example he gave was the story of Paul McCartney. When he started Yesterday, he just literally woke up and he had the tune in his head. And he was so scared that he had plagiarized it that he would go to his friends and hum the tune. He'd be like, and you guys know how the tune is. And he'd try to gauge them and realize, to see if they had heard the tune before. And so it's like the example he was giving is, most people when they hear that story, they're like, oh man, Paul McCartney was just a genius, creativity genius who just he just thought up of all these things willy-nilly. But what he has found in his research, and what Cal Newport found in his research as well, not just in creativity but also in mastering like masterpieces of art or work, is that it comes from just years and years of immersion, years of focused work, focused thinking, focused practice to produce results. So even if it's a new thing that hasn't been generated before, there's a good book called Where New Ideas Come From. It's basically once you get into whatever world you decide to immerse yourself in, your brain will, your right side brain will be able to generate, new ideas. So it's pretty crazy, and definitely recommend you guys check out those books, and when that comes out in June. But Adam Grant is another practicer of deep work. Change the screens. He's the youngest professor to get tenure at Wharton School of Business. He usually produces 7 publications a year. So if you guys aren't familiar with what that is, basically, if you go to Google Scholar, you could see people doing presentations, or people doing publications, really. And each publication needs a scientifically reviewed article needs to be reviewed by their peers and then finally accepted as published science. And so to be able to produce that much work, I'm thinking back into my days at Emory, you have to be able to do a lot of experiments, get statistical significance, and then you have to write the science report, right? So those of you who had science background, I didn't particularly like writing those, but he's able to produce them all the time. And one of the things that he talks about is he utilizes batching for his form of deep work. And what you can think of that batching is half of the year, and I get to this in the rules of deep work, but for half of the year he will close his door to his students because he's a professor, so he has to be available. And he doesn't have classes, he doesn't teach. All he does for half the year is work on the publications or the research that he needs to do. And then for the other half of the year, his door is open, he's more able to be communicated. But Gary Keller's book, The One Thing, talks about this. And if you buy the hardcover, oh yeah, I got it here, I'll show you guys. He talks about limiting your availability. But I thought a cool thing in the book is, you guys can see it here. In case I can't say no, this sign will have to do for me. So it basically talks about how you leave a sign in front, say don't bother me, do not disturb, whatever it is. So what Adam does, he just closes his door, his students know that they can't contact him. And that other half of the year he focuses on being available to his students, being the best professor that he could be. So I show Bruce Lee kicking a dude down. You guys have also seen his 1-inch punch. Bruce Lee was not only a martial artist, but he was also an expert performer. Or he would run shows where he'd get thousands of people, spectators, just coming to see him do just amazing feats with his body. And basically one of the best quotes that illustrates depth versus width is he says, I don't fear the guy who's practicing 1,000 different kicks, trying to switch it up or do whatnot. What he focuses on is like, this is a GIF, but essentially it's like one kick. Guy who's practiced one kick 10,000 times. And you have Malcolm Gladwell kind of talk about this and the 10,000 hours. 10,000 is the new, I guess, marketing. People resonate with 10,000. But someone who performs 10,000 kicks, practices every day, and gets this one move down. That is what Bruce Lee is worried about. And that's what Cam Newport's book is trying to engage people to dive in and to believe in that. You guys can experiment in your own life the suggestions that he gives for deep work and seeing if it's really helpful. So I've been trying this out for the past couple of years, and it's really it's helped me process information more, to do these live streams, to do these book reviews, and also to help my clients out in their marketing. But the two things that you need, and there's also what I wrote is custom notes. If you guys can see this on the screen, if not, for those of you on IG, for those who can't see, I'm showing this on YouTube, and it has the screen out and exactly what my board is showing. But this builds upon some of the other things I've been talking about in deliberate practice. I've talked about this before in my last live stream. But essentially, when you have your practice, you need to be fully engaged, your whole body, mind, body, spirit. And you guys need to be basically not lollygagging, or if some of you guys go to the gym, you might see a lot of people sometimes are on their cell phones, not really focused. And so I guess a challenge I give to you guys, or an experiment, a thought experiment, is the next time you guys go to the gym, see how focused the jacked people are, jack girls, jack guys, right? How like the guys with like a lot of muscle and you're like, that guy lifts. See how focused you gauge their attention is versus the people who are, maybe they may or may not. This is an experiment. This is a thought experiment for you guys to test in your own life. See if they're the unfit people are 100% focused, and just run a tally, do a little experiment for yourself. But essentially, what they say from performance psychology is that basically, if you guys understand like action potentials or kind of how your brain works, your brain sends a signal to to move my muscle right now. It's sending a signal first, and then the muscle reacts, and it's based on myelin sheaths. And basically what they say is, as you develop your skill and work on that one like nerve setting, your brain will create the pathways it needs to, and if it needs to build more, if it needs to make it more efficient. And essentially that's what skill, confidence, performance is your brain and the neural pathways in your brain for the specific action. After time, it's developed you just think of it like turning a 1-lane road into a 7-way highway. It's just a lot of information can be projected in your brain. And the only way to accomplish that is practice, really. Focused practice, working up the habit of being focused, and then working on, like, it's just like the gym or building muscles. You can't build muscles without spending dedicated time to, get the muscles. So, the second part of the book talks about how, or this is still the first part, but it's the second like piece of it, is that not that many people are implementing this strategy. And like with anything in life, the rarer, scarcer a product is, the more valuable it is. So I think this one's gonna flicker. I'm gonna take a Q&A break soon so I can see if I can fix the screen. But there was a study by Atlantic Media CEO, and it's basically they're a newspaper, or they're a publication company, and he wanted to focus on how much time their company was spending sending emails. So a lot of my clientele, or a lot of people I've connected with, because I used to be a BI consultant, business intelligence, and they did a Harvard Business Review article basically looking into how much time people spend sending emails, or how much his consultants do. And what they found is that his business, at least, was spending over $1 million a year, like sitting down, processing emails. They were sending messages, tapping into the company for around 95 cents of the labor costs. And essentially what he talks about is that, or what they have kind of done after being consulted with some of Cal Newport's findings and whatnot, is that more of the time you could just have focused like meetings or focused content. You guys are familiar with like Agile, and really, it may sound weird for those of you in the business setting to like disconnect from emails, but there's other research studies I'm going to present to you guys that basically state that you could drastically reduce emails and the time spent doing emails, and work on fully communicating the exact details that need to be done. Because he also mentions that even in emails, the human, I've talked about this before, it's essentially the human brain is lazy. Some of you guys may think like, oh, why am I so lazy or whatnot? I used to think that too. And then I found all these studies that say that's the default state. That is the default mode of operandum for the brain, is to not want to think if it doesn't have to, or not want to produce if it doesn't have to. So what they did is Boston Consulting Group did a test in collaboration with Harvard Business School, where they forced one of their members, someone on a team would have to go offline for a whole day. So we're talking about no email, no laptop, no nothing. And at first they got a lot of pushback. They're like, what is that guy gonna do all day? He's just gonna, what if we need to contact him, or what if we need urgent information? And at least in this experiment they did with the group setting, is they were able to find that the consultant that took the day off, and it's not even like taking the day off, he wasn't working, it was taking the day off from technology. They found that consultant was able to focus on the problem of the client in more detail. They found more enjoyment in their work. And when they came back to speak with the other clients, they had more clarity and able to deliver the findings that they had found depending on the project. And so essentially, for business owners who are watching this, or people thinking about implementing this in your own company now, well, first, I definitely recommend reading the book for yourself, so you could really see how the test group that he illustrated in the book, how they overcame it. There's a lot more stories, and there's a lot more examples and concrete numbers on what exactly happened. But basically, you end up producing a better product for your client. And so, when I offer marketing research for my clients, or I offer video edit designs and whatnot, what I'm doing now is I just I don't even go to a coffee shop anymore, because he talks about this in like the open office idea, and that I just go to a room and just shut myself out from all distractions. You guys can check out my Instagram. I did an interview with David Nurse in LA. He is the founder of David Nurse Academy. He's an NBA skills trainer, and he talks about how every day when he starts off his day, he will do his morning meditation, morning devotional, and then he will. I'm drinking it right now. I don't know if I can show it on the screen without. What's in this cup? It's matcha, and then I do like a fuser, and I do some meditation, and then after I get into a flow state, I just work on the task at hand. I do some day planning. I put it on my Instagram stories. If you guys don't follow me on Instagram, my personal account, it's Alan Naffa. Or you can hit me up on Snapchat. But basically, I block out the first hours of my day till about 1. Turn off all notifications. Turn off all potentials of meetings. I just block it out. I use a Calendly to set up my consultations with my clients. And I don't even offer the beginning of my day, really. And it also works out because most of my clients are in California, and I have a couple in UK. But I spend the morning just focusing on creating content for the day, or reading books, or planning out the week or the month, depending on what day it is in the month. I usually have a schedule, a cycle of the beginning of the month. I plan out my month and see how I'm aligned with my plan for the year. And then as I get into the later weeks, I start producing these live streams, and I produce the book reviews, and then I get into a cycle of where I focus on how I could generate market research, market value for my clients. And then it kind of just cycles through that in the week, where I'll go from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, focus on client work, and then the rest of the week. So that's why I do these live streams at the end of the week, because that's when I focus on building the business in Blendlogic and my other businesses. So you guys can try for yourself. If anyone's been doing this stuff, hit up. Let me know on IG, or let me know on YouTube. Going on. So for those of you just joining, or if you're watching the replay, those of you in the baseline and some of my clients, I'm going to send this out to you guys. I'm doing a review on Deep Work by Cal Newport. And and basically the hypothesis, the theory, is how basically just turn your phones off. And you'll be, not only will eventually your brain will disconnect from wanting to check your phone, because that takes habit and getting rid of that anxiety that happens when you feel like you're not connected. And then eventually, just to give you an essence of essentially what happened with me, is that your brain will just transfer all that resources of wanting to be connected, and then say like, okay, so what am I going to do now? And if you're focused in mind, body, spirit enough, all your attention, all your resources, all neurons will be working on how to produce what you're trying to produce. So whether that's growing your basketball business, growing your fitness business, you guys are trying to start, seeing how to do e-commerce, drop shipping, how to do live streams even, you guys need to be able to focus all of your attention and all of your brain resources into coming up with creative ways, thinking outside the box. And that's essentially the premise of this book. So really what it is a lot of times in the business settings, I see this a lot I've seen it. When I did consulting, I'd go from business to business, travel the world, travel the US a couple times, or work remotely. And a lot of times, I remember asking one of my clients, or not my clients, it was one of my coworkers. We were talking about how, a lot of times people don't fully spend the whole 8 hours, right? And she just, the 8 hours doing work, and she just wrote it off like, oh, that's just corporate America, Alan, just that's how it is. And so, you kind of get into, if people aren't into this way of thinking, or into, actually dedicating their lives or their day to knocking off their one important thing, then it's really this. It's people just want to appear busy. They just want to appear productive, right? So in my clients, I'm talking about how, you need to showcase what you're doing. Don't just show that you're a basketball trainer, or just show that you're doing something. Show something that has value to people, that not only can it be value to the actual clients you have already, but then also you could, because you're spending more time and more creative energy to showcase, some valuable product or valuable Snapchat or valuable Instagram, that's how people start growing their brand and growing their content, is eventually they're able to produce value consistently day to day. And so, when I was doing some of my first audits for you guys, it was like you guys were posting stuff on Instagram of just like, for some of my basketball clients, you were just, dribbling the ball, or you guys are just like showcasing that, you could dribble. But you always gotta think about it from the prospect of your existing clients and also potential clients, in that, would someone who's already paying me want to see that, right? So if someone's paying you and to be a basketball trainer, and all you're doing is showing yourself dribbling the ball, right? You're not going to theoretically get more clients. You just show that you can dribble the ball. So I kind of bring that up because I've been consulting with a couple of you guys, and I was actually just checking out what you guys were posting on your stories. And I leave feedback to those of you who don't know. Everyone I connect with, I check out all their stories. I check out all their whatever platform that they find best with their clients. So a lot of it is Instagram now. Some of it is Snapchat. You always want to be offering content, and at least when you record it, if people aren't able to attend the full session, you're able to follow up or edit the video so that you could send them like a quote-unquote finished product on Instagram. Why does my screen do that? So the book gets into trying to offer like, I'm not gonna say like the meaning of life, but a hypothesis or answer that could alleviate what a lot of people feel in the world is, what's my purpose, or what am I here for, what am I doing? And so a story they bring is Miss Gallagher. They wrote the book Wrapped because they were diagnosed with cancer. And they talk about how, when they were first hit with the news, they were just thinking like, what is this it? What I'm like, I don't know if you guys have ever read stories on cancer patients or whatnot. When they first hear the news, they always talk about like, you kind of zone out, or that's what they present in television shows. But what she was saying in that she actively chose, or somehow her brain actively chose, to focus on life and what she could still accomplish. And Brandon Bouchard has a good book on this, The High Performance Habits, where he talks about mortality motivation. And that once you start realizing, the preciousness of life and essentially the amount of time that you perceive you have abundance of, but really it's limited, is that her brain chose to focus on specific areas. So really, guys, what you guys want to look up here is that there's a portion in your brain that focuses on fear, and there's ways that you can practice, do drills, do morning habits, develop morning habits or rituals to kind of train your amygdala to not focus on fear so much. And so one of the things when I was doing my best fitness and nutrition biohacks, one of the things I first learned about is taking cold showers. And really, if I were to draw it out, there's 3 aspects of the brain. It's the mind, the body, and the spirit. And they all want to be interconnected. And one way to kind of build that, think about when you're doing weights, you don't always like work out with heavy weight. Someone just hit me up. You work out with small weights first, and you build your way up. So if you guys are trying to develop, your courage, develop your, train your amygdala to not fire off as much as it should, you want to get where your whole body is aligned here. The mind, body, spirit. Dang, I'm even getting flickering on gray. That's crazy. But basically, what you guys want to do is cold. Here's the secret, guys: cold showers. And there's actually just a Harvard Business Review on how long you should take cold showers or whatnot. But basically, what happens is, I mean, I'm kind of formulating what I think is going on with my own body or my own life right now. And what I think it is you guys have your spirit or your will or your passion. Like I lump that up here in spirit. And so, just think about right now, I'm telling you guys to take cold shower, like freezing cold, like however cold your faucet will deliver, right? Your mind, your brain is saying, hell no. Well, I don't want to do that. I don't want to take a cold shower. And even if you could, your spirit's going to first try and tell your mind, like, don't think like that. Let's go do it. Now, once you make let's say you start taking cold showers, you get into the connection. Now your body's physically cold. You start shivering. You start freezing up. And, Franco just messaged me. Can't make that meeting. Basically, you want to create an alignment between mind, body, spirit in that, I think it starts with your spirit, with your will, and then you control your mind and your body. In that, once they become all harmonized, you stop having these thoughts, right? Phil Heath talks about this. He's a Mr. Olympian, in one of his latest videos, he talks about how your body's shaken, your mind wants to quit, but you get rid of all excuses. Your mind's gonna say, get me out of this shower right now. Your body's gonna be physically shivering and whatnot. But you transform basically the neurons in your brain as you develop this habit where you're just in total control. And then eventually, I don't know if you guys have experienced this, it's like ultimate flow state in my opinion. It's like whatever you think about doing, there's not even any objections that appear in your head anymore because your mind no longer will. It sounds kind of like hoo-hoo mind magic stuff, but really it's, you'll stop thinking about what could go wrong or what, why you shouldn't do stuff, and you literally think, I need to do something, and then your mind body is like, okay, we got to do it. So your body will take the actions, your mind will feed you the right thoughts of positivity and encouragement to make you take action. And so I'm not going to say that all of it started from me taking cold showers, but it is something that you guys should just experiment in your own life. Should you guys start getting positive results, it's not, don't thank me, it's, people in this book, people in the One Thing offering advice on how to really, start taking control of your, your life attitudes and whatnot. So we are going to take a break. I'm actually going to change the screen because it's flickering. We're going to take a Q&A break. Anyone have any questions on the live stream, hit me up. Ooh. In the meantime, I'm going to try and figure out this see way to get rid of the flickering. Those of you on IG, leave me a comment on YouTube. You guys have any questions? We'll get right back into it soon. just adjusted my setting. I won't rest on Friday. So I just streaming out a fest. Those of you guys on the section. But basically, the first part of this live stream help marketing. So we're gonna get to the second part of the book, the second part of the presentation. Basically, tools success. Basically, part talks about the book that have issues systemic not being able to focus at all these drugs that came out of nowhere, all this focus. And so he illustrated part of the was talking about how founder not distracted. Basically, spends the first day off action writers. Even talks about writers. Now, funny, one of the first rules. But it's really just action. That was one changing environment. You guys find not being able to prove that, try drastic environment. One of the examples, she actually trying to last that I come by, but she actually had trouble books going down. All she did about it, not only have a lot of times all that is, and she also other that talking about how back wasn't wasn't whatever you guys got to do, focus on getting dates, getting lighting a button fire, right? And then he talks about how there's 4 ways you possibly. Right? We have I talked about it before. One is the monastic, but also possible by mode. Depends on how long you're able to distance bimodal also. Gates. Takes matches. Best of the other two journalists, they're just different ways that you express it. That Cam connected was able to find that book right out, come back down. That takes was able to have a book. You guys can try all four of it. I would say that question. That's what I recommend. Yes. So there's four disciplines of execution. He talks about how a lot of business, right? So guys are asked that is tagging. Once you guys lead, basically client reduce. Sometimes really first section here all talks about this book. That's close, quick. It's like the one thing. I'll show you guys my like even talks about start off the day with posting that work. Recording different ways. One actually two that issue of priority. Getting now and checking hitting, hiding. That's what I want you to switch up. Me, I pass that out. Scoreboard and accountability. I've talked. I have scoreboard. Him has a calendar. But such as a calendar. Right. That main that I ask for. So this is I was reading a book. Time all about turn off the strategy. Actually, the newbie rookie just getting in. Talk to you guys about culture, 5 minutes practice, practice, not act. He talks about you guys can take breaks. That's enough. Someone leg day, skip leg day. But yeah, like eventually, hours. Talks about the book, how whoever having mental muscle, but you guys gotta work. Another thing he talks about things on one, acting, meditate, productive. Two, how to so first part of it. You guys have parts of your day where you're talking time, hour, if time, talking dog, daily task, and getting I mean, yeah, he does he's doing his dog, training his dog, walking his dog, about the task. I sit down and drink coffee about my day, task. That's when you're aware in your brain that sometimes trying to take a action. Just stop thinking. That's one of the second part about this out. How to memorize a technique. That's our right side. Basically, one side of your other side of your brain. What he tells you guys to do, how X shuffle, shuffle. The practice they talk about, they do kind of leverage the right side of the page, but not just picture and the picture live object house guys, how walking, how they, you know, think about it right now. Walking. What they do is with the card, associate that card with some things. Donald, right? Other M. And they'll go with universal house. But for people, they have an item, Donald, walking house. Associate and basically play they're able to 5 minutes. I mean, first it takes practice to know like cards. But eventually, you see the cards shuffling, walk through, walk. That's how, that's how they're able to memorize it. Reading it, thinking, random bonus, writing. He was talking about how he doesn't take class active tech, talking about that your brain up every time you hear him. base and fragment thing wants like and deck cards base talking base on probably it's crazy. I don't know practice lecture. I just deal with I don't think definitely risky. One of the strategies you guys can I don't know, I mean as a social agent I would have I think with everything I don't I actually ran out. But what he says is just run 30-day exchange, have a positive. I recommend 30 days if you're not off it. You gotta see people. That's how you honestly how active. You even plan out your holiday. Some of them have I use my day actually huge. You know, when I was first doing this, Google Calendar helped. As I like action, now I just have it. But what he says is, you know, one of my college came with everything, everyone had to, you know, their schedule, try to schedule productive. That they just talk about tickets book. It's actually a book, How to Live. Basically, everyone talks about Arnold Schwarzenegger. You just have to, you guys have to time, guys work 5 o'clock, out. just so had 2 kids, was doing a bot about time. That was you guys gotta prioritize and that was actually maximize it's uh, 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 getting off it. You guys figure out ways of I've it's kind of towards active. I'm coming from something to try out. Ask your out. Those you guys rushing. Rushing. This is kind of what life talked about how Russia. We had a hypothesis. Social now you guys may know only really it's like now you can game science any best attitude. They just not get rid of happen. You guys have questions? Yep. My deck is so I just have these comments. One, Steve Ballmer. Steve Ballmer, Clippers, talking about how Bill Gates was false. Well, he's talking about him. That was just passion. I thought background guys probably heard Kanye West and entire whole podcast. One of the things I mean, I hustle. My name is making content, to making having tired, gotten to make. It's just this dedication. That's question. I skeptical. I'm saying falsely real. Bill Gates is falling. This amount of passion that there's no other way. There was another way besides hey, I would be guys help me. That's your strategy. Snapchat next week. Crushing. Haven't gotten it. Very stuck. Yes, ask me live out and yep. Maybe